so happy we alive.
Knee on the pedal, oh, I hit it hard, and the pain went up through my brain, and I said, I wonder if what I was thinking had anything to do with me hitting that pedal. Thoughts are things and can become crimes or miracles in their application. So I've tried to live by my mom's motto of basically forget it. And my two brothers, Stan was 4 years older than me and David was 4 years younger. I seemed to always be caught in the middle. Let's see. Stan played the piano, and I wanted to play the piano, but they made me wait a year because I think I was too short. So I think I started at age 5, and I believe I played 5 years. 1 hour a day I practiced. And finally, my teacher fired me, like I told you. David played the clarinet, and then later Stan played the alto saxophone, and I can still remember right now being in the kitchen and taking his saxophone downstairs to the kitchen out of his room and trying to put the reed on and chipping it just a little bit, you know, and trying to play a scale on it. And I just didn't know where the buttons were. I knew what I wanted because I played the piano, but I couldn't find them. So later, I guess he gave me the sax, and I started playing the saxophone. And I really liked doing that. There's a couple of people I'd like to thank, and I like for them to stand up when I introduce them. Brad Mundy, right here, has been with me. He came from high school and started working for me, and that's been about 15 years ago. And Brad, I really appreciate everything you've done. How many packages have you shipped in 15 years? All around the world. All around the world. All correctly, too. It's got to be a lot. You'll figure it up someday. It's got to have a lot of zeros after it. Then our next longest person, I think, is Gigi Day. She's probably been with us, what, about 10 years? 11? You started in high school, didn't you? Yeah. Gigi speaks 3 languages and takes care of everything on the side. Thank you, Gigi. And Ben Gritton has been with us, what, 3 years? 3 years, I think. Actually, the year before I hired him, I asked him to come and work for us, but he turned it down. Then I called him a year later, and I said, well, Ben, what you been doing? He said, well, I've been regretting the fact that I didn't take you up on the offer a year ago. I said, okay, now's the time. Ben's from Louisville, and he does everything under the sun, too. Ben Gritton, thank you. And then there's 2 people that aren't here, and that is Donna Collier, which is Gigi's fiance's mother. She can't be here tonight. And the other fellow is Dale Morgan, who was never sick a day in his life until he started working for us about 4 years ago. And he almost died in the Clark County Hospital and the Floyd County Hospital several times, really. He was a sick boy. And I just told him the other day how much health insurance I was paying a year for him. I couldn't believe it. Incredible. So, and then we have one more person that's been with us, how long, Danny? 3 months? 2 months? August, September, October. Okay, we just made 3 months. Danny Needham here in the front row. He worked up at Penny's in the men's department, and I was up there back in August. And he said something to me. I don't know what he said. What did you say? You remember?
You're Jamey Aebersold.
That's right. You said that. Right. And I looked at my driver's license and I said, you're right. And I said, what did I say? I said something. I said, I don't know, how long you been working here? And he said, 4 years. And I said, you play music? And he said, yeah. I said, well, what do you want to do? And he said, I want to be a rock star. I think that's what you said. And I said, what instrument you play? He said, drums. And I said, you ever looking for another job? And he said, well, yeah. So to make a long story short, about 2 weeks later or 3 weeks later, he started working for us, and he's doing real good. I'm presently paying him, what is it, 8 cents more than pennies? He's doing a good job. He's doing good. As a matter of fact, people say, I call and someone answers the phone. It's Danny. Always before, it's Matt and Gigi trying to, hoping the other one would answer the phone. That type of thing. We just got a new phone system last week. That's really nice, too. We're trying to figure it out. I'd like to recognize a couple of people that have been instrumental in Sarah and I's ability to donate to organizations all around the world. We couldn't do it without Merrill Lynch. And I'd like to introduce Don Miller and his associates back over here in the car. Don, would you stand up, Charles, please? Where's Don? He's going to retire in a couple of years. And ages ago, I had $1,000 probably more than I knew what to do with, so I think I gave it to Don. Well, it's grown over the years, and he's helped me, along with his team, dispersed some of that money to various organizations around the world, and I really appreciate that. And another thing I want to do is just take a moment and thank Mike Kuntz and Amy Barkley and all the people on the Smoke-Free Committee that have allowed Smoke-Free Louisville to start on November the 15th. Mike and Amy, where are you? Where's Mike and Amy? Are they here? I don't see them. You all could do me a big favor. You can honor me when you leave. Take one of these red Quit Easy books over here and give it to somebody that you know that smokes. Whether they've professed an interest in smoking cessation or not. Give it to a person on the street. They need it. We need to extend the lives of people. And smoking around here is just taking too many lives. Incidentally, when we play these school concerts, and when I put up this transparency, now we're into talking about tobacco, and I put up this transparency, it says, now kids, you tell me if this is true or false. And I say, now teachers, listen up. It says, most people don't smoke. And the kids go, false! False! They try to outshout one another. I say, do any of you think it's true? And out of 300, maybe 20 would raise their hands. And I say, the truths have got it correctly. And they all holler, you know, and the other ones are going like, that can't be. Because I see everybody smoking. Then I give them the figures, and when they leave, they got some information that they need. I want to play something on the piano before I give a couple quotes here. This is for my buddy. That's a tune I made up when Alex was born. I've been playing it at least once a day when he comes over. You like it? Yeah, he likes it. The other day, he came over Tuesday a week ago, and Sarah was fixing the mashed potatoes and supper, and I was in the piano just playing a little bit, and he walks up and he says, show me something. I said, okay, so I go, dee da 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 da. Now try that. And he kind of smashes it. I said, no, pay attention. Da da da. He goes, crunch, crunch, crunch. And he looks up to me and says, let's just mess around. Okay, I'd like to, I want to finish with just a couple quotes here. These are things that I realize I've kept way back in my mind, but probably every day they come to the forefront when I'm dealing with people and situations and so forth. And one of them comes from A Course in Miracles. It's called, when you meet a stranger, look for the gift they have come to receive from you. Now that's kind of a twist, isn't it? When you meet a stranger, start looking for the gift that they've come to receive from you. I love to give things away. I love to give things away. And Charles Fillmore, who started Unity, which is a church, but not really a religion, because you can believe anything you want to believe and still go to Unity. There's a Unity temple over in Louisville. At age 94, he wrote, and they found it after he died. He says, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm and spring forth with a mighty faith to do the things that ought to be done by me. And when I first read that probably 20 years ago, I said, wow, people can live to be 94 years old and have that kind of enthusiasm and energy, and they write it down, you know, so they can see it. I want to be like that guy. Then Edgar Casey, who was a prophet from, grew up in Henderson, Kentucky, not Henderson, grew up in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and I read a lot about him. He says, do what you know to do, even if the whole world says you're wrong. Now that's a good one, but that's one that I've kind of lived with. I like that. It's kind of like I like butting my head, I guess, against obstacles and so forth. But if it seems right, I do it. It's like Sarah and I were talking about how to get to this place. And I kept telling her over the last week, it's da-da-da, then you turn, then you go, and she says, no, it's da-da-da. We were talking about when we were getting ready to come out here in the bathroom. I said something. She said, I told you it's not that way. I said, well, once it gets in my head, it's so hard to change it until I see it. And then another one is Einstein said, imagination is more important than knowledge. And that's a strong one, because we all gain a lot of knowledge throughout our lives, but it's what we do with it through our imagination that really counts. And I love using my imagination. As a matter of fact, when I was writing this all up, I wrote something that said, let's live our life backward. Let's start out old, and then go back down to when you're a baby, and then you sort of disappear from that end. I wonder what that